In the book, you were so busy traveling that your family wasn't around. Right. And now it's so great that your family, you got 3 family members here, Phil, Valerie, Trinity's out there running stuff, running the world. Speaking of, my family's here as well. So I've got my sister and my niece here, and I want to share with you what we've done. So we met through Everette Harp, and we built this concert in Rochester, New York, in our backyard. Started like really small, like local musicians. Then we called Everette Harp, and we said, do you think people from California would fly in to play for this? And Everette did, and he was the cornerstone. And then he started inviting his friends. So it turned into a full-day concert in the backyard. Yep. This is the backyard. And if you think this is really fancy, don't. The houses across the street are $35,000. This is not a place that normally gets Earth, Wind, and Fire to play in the backyard. And so all the proceeds from the concert go to scholarships for musicians to attend, jazz scholarships to the Eastman School of Music. But here's where it gets funny. So Myron McKinley is going to remember this. Myron is here over my shoulder. By the way, Myron is the musical director for Earth, Wind, and Fire. And a detail that's very important to this audience, he's an alum of USC and the Thornton School of Music. Myron. Yeah. So this is not one of my better moments I'm going to share with you, but it gets there. So our family, puts out the food and picks up the artists from the airport in the cars. Like, it's a fully family-run event. And we work on this thing for 6 months to have this one day of music. And through a miscommunication on my part, the musicians miss rehearsal in Los Angeles. And Myron tells me they miss rehearsal. Everette, who's a perfectionist, says, well, we'll do what it's going to do. And I sort of lose my mind. I'm a little bit tired. You might remember this one. So I had a bit of a meltdown on the phone. And I've never spoken to Philip at this point, but Myron's probably had enough of me. Lesson number 1, by the way, once musicians take over, get out of the way. Just really get out of the way. And that's my lesson. Everette taught me that explicitly, by the way. And so here's what happened. So I'm having a bit of a meltdown. The concert's in 2 days. We've worked on it for 9 months, and the band hasn't played together. So Myron, I'm sort of, not yelling at Myron, but just complaining. He hands the phone to Philip. I've never spoken before. And Philip says, David, it's Philip. Don't worry about anything. I'm going to put a concert on. I'm going to put a show on that's so good, you're going to want to kiss me. But I'm not going to let you. And he hands the phone back. And he hands the phone back to Myron, and that's the end of that. But here's where a moment that we'll never forget. So Philip is a consummate professional. He showed, whether it's a small gig like ours or it's Staples Center, he treats it the same way, the way you treat practice. And he shows up for sound check. And he's in our backyard. And imagine, I have 3 sisters and nieces and nephews, and we're all like putting up the seats and the tags and where everyone's going to sit. This starts in 3 hours. And then Philip Bailey starts singing September for just you. And all of us instinctively dropped everything in our hands and just walked to the stage and just started dancing there. And sure enough, he put on a concert that Rochester, New York will never forget. Here's a shot of him singing, and then here's the night shot of what this thing looked like. And we raised 80 scholarships for students to go to school. But while we're talking about how much you've changed people's lives, like you made a dent in our family's life that we'll never forget. Our family, this is back after the show, and even though you said I couldn't, I still got to kiss you. I still got to kiss you. Do you see this?
That's funny.